and I'm glad you can't hear me. And we're going to make scones, and this is a very simple recipe to do. And now you know what your scones are. And scones are actually a British biscuit, I guess, by lack of a better term. It is a pastry, but the scones that I had that I kind of model these after, I had, they're a little bit different. I had them in Ocean City, and they're crispier. They have more edges, and traditionally not round. In America, we seem to make our scones in triangles, and that's because we cut them out of a circle. And I don't do that anymore because I like to have more edges with more crispness. And by baking them in a circle and then cutting them, it's more of a cake type. And the scones that I came to love in Ocean City were more of a crispy, crunchy outside and not on the ends, and soft on the inside and buttery. So I tried to make them. So let me see if I can get back in on this computer, and we'll have my pan cam, at least.
Oh,
so
I wonder if you can
the basic
hear me.
scone recipe is pretty simple. It is flour, salt, baking soda, sugar. Okay, and then to that you add cold butter, and you blend that in, which we're going to do. I have my food processor because you can cut these by hand, but the food processor makes it a little bit easier. I'm going to pull my scones out. Okay.
I don't think Chef can hear me. It seems like everyone else can hear me, but he's not hearing me.
But let's hope for the best here. So the camera up. And we'll go from there. And we have a nice crowd. Thank you all for coming today. I appreciate you hanging in there with me. Even though we are having some technical difficulties at this moment. You can hear both. You can hear Susan. Susan, I can't hear you. Oh, wait a minute. Susan, say something.
Yes, hello.
Oh, I can hear you. Praise
Okay, awesome.
Okay, so that was me, being me again.
Good. So now that I'm not showing, I'll take my lipstick off and I'll just relax.
That sounds fun.
Ah.
In the meantime, I am trying to get my other computer booted up so I can show the pan cam, because that's what happens when you use two Macs, I guess. I should have stuck with my PC. There we go. On air. Here we are. Let's see if I can call in. There we go. Got to mute everything. All right. Yay for us. Okay. All right. Let's get started with these things.
Yay, scones. Yay for scones. Can't wait.
Right. So we're going to use a food processor. And I'm just going to leave this where it is right now. It's not real close, but you guys will have a better idea what I'm doing. So in the food processor, okay, I'm going to add in my flour, and I have 2 cups of flour. I have, let me see how much it was. 2 cups of flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, and I have 5 teaspoons of sugar. And I'm using a brown-ulated sugar. It is a brown sugar that's granulated because guess who forgot to buy regular sugar again? Me. So the first thing we do is we pulse this up just to mix it up. All I'm doing in this case is mixing it up. So we've got that mixed up. Put this right over here. Now I'm going to get butter. And I have some cold butter that I have cubed. Okay, and it is 6 ounces of butter, which is a stick and a half, and it's going to go in here. I'm going to do my best to kind of separate it a little bit. And you want to make sure.
I thought 8 ounces was in 1 stick. No.
No, 4 ounces is a stick.
Got it. Okay.
4 sticks to a pound.
I'm thinking 8 tablespoons.
Yes. So 12 tablespoons is a stick and a half, and I did weigh it just to make sure. So now I've got, and it's very cold butter. Some people will go as far as to freeze it. And if you guys could tell a little bird, I always appreciate you sharing this out. So now I'm going to pulse it with the butter until I get a coarse mixture. I don't want to overmix it. but I want to get the butter worked in.
Exactly. Isn't it really critical about mixing? I mean, what if you overmix it? Then it gets what?
Tough.
Right.
Anytime you overmix, things going to get a little tough. So that's all I need that for. So let me move that back.
But such a convenience to do it in the food processor, and you just kind of pulse it until it blends together, I guess. Gets granular.
The first thing you do is mix it together to get everything mixed. And you really can't see, but it kind of looks like coarse sand. Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can pull this camera in just a little bit more for you so you have a better look of it. But you don't want to, the butter's got to be real cold because you don't want it to be mushy. It's not like we're making a crisp topping.
You don't want to bind it.
No.
Okay.
Get rid of this. Yeah, we're not taking it in that direction. All right, so let me move the camera. Okay, so we've got this, and this is a side. Now that the dry ingredients with the butter is mixed, there's one more step, and the step is the liquid ingredients. The liquid ingredients are very simply a half a cup of Greek yogurt or sour cream. All right, so you can make these, and I would use, you can try it with a little no-fat yogurt, but I would at least use the 2% for something like this, because we're using some heavy cream too. But
what's that, about a half a cup?
Half a cup. Half a cup of Greek yogurt.
Wow.
Half a cup of heavy cream. Yeah, these are not diet scones. I'm sorry. When you're using butter like that, there's pretty much no way that you're going to make these diet scones. Oh, forgot my lemon juice. Such a hurry to do that. All right, so well, the other thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to mix it into my flour mix, is first, before I do that, is I'm going to use some lemon zest. And I have a zester here. Now, when you zest, you only want to take pretty much one swipe. All right, you don't want to go in too much into the skin because that's where it gets bitter. So you don't want to get any of the pith at all, the white part.
You know, the more I cook, I've been cooking forever. It seems like I'm using lemons more and more and more in my cooking. I mean, it's such a wonderful flavor. I'm so glad you're putting them in.
Yep. And, you know, I'm going to put my grate right into there, and I should have put it in the food processor and pulse it up, but it's not a deal breaker. And if you don't have one of these graters, these are really wonderful to have. They're only like $10 or $12, and they're wonderful for doing zest, for doing any citrus zest. And like Susan says, they make such a nice addition.
Yeah, I have one of those. They're great. They're great. I like scones for, you know, when companies is staying over, you know, around the holidays and you have the kids visiting and, you know, especially if you can just kind of whip it up in the morning when, of course, they're sleeping. If you have grown kids visiting, they're not getting up till noon anyway. Well,
let me tell you what I used to do when I made these more frequently. I don't bake as much as I used to, but I would take all my dry ingredients, measure them out, put them in a Ziploc bag, and I would make up a couple batches of them and muffins, and I'd have them in my cabinet. I'd date them, and then when I got up in the morning, there was one less thing to do.
Yeah.
You can even write the wet ingredients on the outside of the bag, and, you know, it takes you less time to put something in the oven, have something hot. So now we're going to add our lemon juice into the heavy cream and yogurt, and we're going to mix it up. So once that's all mixed together, let's give this a quick stir to get that zest in. All right, now we're going to add in the wet mixture into the dry mixture. And this has to be done fairly quickly because we do not want the butter to melt. Okay, so that's, and if it's a hot day, you might want to put your flour mixture into the refrigerator so it doesn't get too warm. And then I'm just going to mix this together until it starts to form a dough. Start to see a little bit of a dough formation here. Now, once I see that dough formation, I'm going to stop mixing it that way, and I go in with my hand. And I'm going to get the rest of that flour, much as I can, incorporated. Just by turning it over and pushing it in. And you can add other seasonings to this. You can put vanilla in. And I used to put it in if I'm doing just a plain a nut flavor. You can put in cinnamon. You can put cocoa in and make them a little chocolate.
You know what I was going to ask you? Can you put a filling in? Can you put preserves in? Like a pocket? What do you think?
I think with the scone, that might be asking a lot. I think that would make it a little runny. Scone isn't really built for that. A muffin, you could cut the inside out and you could pipe it into it, but a scone is a little more dense. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put some dried cranberries in this, and I'm going to put in some white chocolate chips. So this is going to be a little nice sweet and tart from the cranberry. You could put nuts in here if you like. And then once I pretty much have it into a bowl, I'm just going to turn it out on the table. I want to be careful not to put too much more flour into it. And I want to be careful not to handle it too much more than I need to. So once it's pretty much mixed and you think you have all your flour incorporated, you can put it. Now, this is originally how I used to make it. You'd make a square, put it on parchment, and then you'd cut that square into triangles. And they'd come out flat. Let me rinse my hands a little. They'd come out flat, and you'd only have the crispy edges on the outside. So what I've done for that, let me grab another pan.
Oh boy. I have anxiety now because I don't know if I have the right kind of zester. Look at the picture.
Oh, well, they in all sizes. And I
know. Look at the picture on the sidebar.
I have different ones for different occasions and different things.
Oh, boy.
So I've got so now what I'm going to do is I am going to cut it.
Was that about an inch thick?
It is about an inch, maybe a quarter.
Okay.
Right. At that point, it really doesn't matter. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and I'm just going to kind of free form them a little bit. I'm going to keep them in triangles because that's kind of how most Americans, but you could cut these out and make them round like British and Irish scones, I think, are pretty much all round. So these are coming out really nice. I don't have to really do too much. The other batch I had were not quite as stuck together.
This looks amazing. I mean, really, this looks, I'm definitely going to make these when my kids come out for the weekend.
These are so easy too. And it's something for the kids, if you have younger ones, it's something you can get them involved into.
Wow.
Okay. So now we have that, and I don't want to get the bottom of this on it. So I'm going to take a little bit of heavy cream or milk. And I'm going to brush it right on the top of the scone.
Okay, so what's the reason for that?
This is going to give it some really good color.
Oh.
Okay. Mm-hmm. This is going to make it turn a lovely golden color. And I will show you the results through the magic of television. And boy, my kitchen is a mess. I'm glad you can't see it. All right, they're going to go in for 20 minutes at 400 degrees. All right. And through the magic of television, we have these.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay, now
wow.
Look at the bottoms.
Not perfect. And you bake them on parchment?
Yes. On parchment, always on parchment. But see how nice and golden. These were
gorgeous.
Actually 21 minutes. And these are blueberry. So these did spread a little bit more because the liquid from the blueberry kind of pushed them apart.
Yes. Okay. I was just going to say, can you open one up and bring it up close? No. Oh.
See, they're gorgeous. A little flat.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit
more
bigger. But you don't want them to be too high because then they're not going to bake right. Let's see. Very nice. Very puffy. And they're not super sweet. Okay. Although you have a lot of fat in them, you don't have a lot of sugar in them.
So they're not, I mean, I've had scones where they are so dry, I don't like them dry. Who wants a dry scone? I like them to kind of melt in my mouth a little bit, maybe not too much. What do you think?
Well, these are definitely right there, right now, melting in your mouth.
Yep, that's for me.
They are lovely. Okay, now, if you want to make a little glaze for them, the easiest way to do that is to take a little bit of, especially if you wanted to be a little bit of sweet, and a little bit of on the ground of the bowl.
But that's what's nice about scones too, because they're not too sweet.
No. So I'm going to take.
I like that.
These are not really sweet at all. It's a very nice breakfast. And in fact, I have served these with like a blueberry compote instead of putting the blueberries in them. Made them plain and served them with a hot blueberry compote and whipped cream, which is lovely. So I'm going to take a couple tablespoons of 10x sugar. We're going to put a little lemon juice in it.
How about making scones for lunch and maybe putting some scallions as a side, some scallions or other herbs? Mm-hmm.
You put a little bit of cornmeal in it too. Not a lot, but put some in. You could put some herbs in it.
Oh boy, Tina's saying cheese.
Absolutely, cheese and some potatoes chunks. I mean, you could make a lunch scone. And like I said, these aren't very sweet. If you want to leave out, I would cut the sugar either out completely or maybe in half. I still would leave a little bit of sugar in it because sugar affects the baking.
Oh, good point.
A real easy drizzle for it, and it's going to be sweet, and it's going to be lemony.
Oh, that looks great. So tell me what about making them ahead?
You can make them ahead. You can freeze them. You can put them in a Ziploc and store them.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't make a whole lot of this. I just used a half a lemon and 2 tablespoons of this just to make a quick glaze. You can use water if you don't want to use lemon. You can put lime. Another nice thing to do with these to make them look really pretty is put a little zest into the glaze, a little lime zest.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, let me make a little more and I'll show you what I mean. I have 2 tablespoons.
I think I just may make those for Thanksgiving and freeze them.
Oh, make them up ahead. Now, granted, anytime you freeze something, you're going to lose a little something in the translation.
Uh-huh.
But it's still going to be, lovely in a nice, easy way. If they're staying overnight for Thanksgiving morning or the day after.
Yeah.
So now these are my little limes. My lime tree died on me, and it had limes on it, and it came back. And the limes were wonderful.
Huh.
But they're tiny. They're almost like key limes, but they're not key limes.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to put a little bit of lime grate into this. And I could have used lime juice in it too. That would have been wonderful. And what this is going to do now is when I make my glaze, and I always make too much of this. This is why I'm doing it 2 tablespoons at a time. Because when I make it by a recipe, I make enough glaze to glaze the house. So... And then I don't have anything to do with it. So now I'm going to put this on, and when it runs, you're going to. So
are those warm now, or were they room temperature?
When we started the show.
Okay.
So still a little warm.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Okay. So now, when that glaze dries, you'll see little bits. Can't really see them too well on the camera, but they'll have little bits of lovelies on them.
Oh yeah, that looks fantastic.
And where this is very sweet, these were a lemon scone.
Mm-hmm.
The lemon flavor of the glaze takes it over the top.
Love that. That's yeah.
Oh wow.
That's what I like. Oh, I wish I could have one.
So buttery.
Oh, I need to make those. Oh, stop it. So I can see they're flaky.
Oh yeah, that's because I didn't
Very
mix them
flaky.
too much.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep. Wow. I'm going to make those babies. I have a vacuum sealer thing. I'm going to vacuum seal them and put them away.
Wow, they are good. So does anyone have any questions? Brown sugar is a great audible. Yeah, that was my audible. I'm the Peyton Manning of scones. I was searching through it. I have a lot of Florida Crystals brown, but that's a little chunkier. So this was a brownulated that I actually got from a show that's like a coffee sugar, but it's brown sugar. And Damara sugar, if you've never bought Damara sugar, that's something to look at. And that is like a very flavorful brown sugar, very rich, a lot more flavor in it, molassesy flavor maybe, but I'm not really sure how to describe it. But Damara is...
What does it begin with, a D or a T?
D as in David.
Okay.
DEMARA. Just wonderful sugar to use in baked goods, in coffee. It just is very nice. Adds a little other layer. So that's it. And no eggs in these, no. Just butter, cream, Greek yogurt, or sour cream. So you can use, and again, it's pretty simple. 2 cups, teaspoon of baking powder, I think it was, a teaspoon or tablespoon. And I did put the link in at the very top. I'll drop the link in again for the recipe. But they're all on my website, and I have a bunch of different kind of scones. This is a blueberry lemon. In the oven, I have a pistachio, a white chocolate. So nice. You have to make, and also, if you want to make them smaller, by all means, make them smaller. Say, they're just little nibbles for people, or this is too much scone for you to eat.
Yeah. And you know what else could be cool? Say like a cheese jalapeno.
Mm-hmm.
Like little bits of jalapeno. Love it.
Yeah. And they're going to be really flaky. Serve them with a bowl of chili or a bowl of soup, and they're just going to be wonderful. Oh, thank you, Tina, for posting that. Really tasty and fresh. And again, using the food processor, you see how easy and how fast they were to make. I actually got back. I had to run because it's been a bad day for me.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Some days I have these days where I'm just not in time with things, and I'm on my blabs, and I went to get my stuff out, and I come back, and I don't have any heavy cream. I don't have any Greek yogurt. I got to run to the store. So I got back here at about 1:15, made a batch, put them in the oven, and then semi-prepped to get us ready for this.
I know you did seem really rushed.
A little hectic.
Yeah.
And that's why. So, it was that quick. All right. So that's what I'm trying to get across. It's a matter of just measuring it out. And like I said, a good idea, say you want to make them in the morning. You don't want to make them ahead of time. Measure out all your dry ingredients. Very simple. Put them in a Ziploc bag. And then just have your food processor ready on the counter when you wake up. Dump it in, pulse it. You can even mix together your wet ingredients and have them in a little cup in the refrigerator. Put them all together, roll, pour them out, bake them. And within a half an hour, when people come down for breakfast, you'll greet them with hot scones.
I think that's so, so organized. And don't forget to label the bag.
Yes. Well, that's if you're going to make more. Like I said, when I was baking and on weekends, because I worked all the time, I'd be tired. But, it's nice to get up. Lisa always gets up after me, and to have muffins for her or scone. When I told her I would make scones, she was real excited because I haven't made them since we've been here.
Wow.
Yeah. So I haven't been doing much baking since we've been here. But she was excited because she'd get up, she'd smell them upstairs. I'd have coffee made. She'd get a hot muffin or a hot scone. And, it was just a nice thing.
It is nice. It's nice to do those early morning things that are easy and fast, but that are special.
Yeah.
And that's great. Like I said, around the holidays when people are visiting. And very easy.
Let me tell you, it's a lot easier than making bacon and eggs for everybody in the morning. And it's a nice treat. You have a couple scones, a cup of coffee, maybe some fruit with it afterwards. Mm-hmm. You're set to lunchtime. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. And tomorrow I promise to be better together. I have everything for tomorrow already. I'll make the pizza dough earlier, and I'll show you how to do it. And I'll have some pizza dough ready to go as well.
And I'll be showing you my stretching technique.
Woohoo! Your pizza stretching or your?
No, my pizza stretching technique. Wait till you see. I mean, it's the real deal. It's the real deal.
I'm excited. And,
Me too.
And hopefully everything will be cleared up because I think some of this was Blab must be doing.
Yeah.
Too, but we'll have everybody back on. So thank you all for coming, and I hope you make some scones. If you do, please let me know on Twitter that you made them. Show some pictures of them. Somebody made the what did I do? Somebody showed a sauce they made and froze it in ice cube trays, and someone else made the brownies and told me how good they were. So I love feedback. So please, anything you have, if you make them, show me that you made them. And I'll retweet it, and I'll be happy that you did. So we'll see you tomorrow for Around the Kitchen Table when we're making pizza.
Thanks for coming.
All right,
Bye-bye.